Okay, let's unpack this. We've got sources here that lay out a complete blueprint for absolute political control. And we're not just talking about borders of the economy.
Yeah.
We're talking about controlling the inner psychological life of every single person.
Yeah, and what's so terrifying about these sources is
Yeah.
the ruthless efficiency of it all. It's a design. And for this deep dive, that's what we really want you to understand. Our mission here is to look at not just how the society is built, but why it's designed to run on, well, on permanent lies and manage terror.
And the whole theory, the whole mission statement of this regime is perfectly captured in this one quote from the Ministry of Love. I think this is the hook, really. It says, "We are not interested in the overt act. The thought is all we care about. We do not merely destroy our enemies, we change them."
That single statement is the whole game. The end game isn't just compliance, it's literally transforming human nature. And to do that, the very first thing you have to build is inescapable, total surveillance.
So let's start there, with the central device that makes it all possible, the telescreen. It's described as this oblong metal plaque, right? Almost like a dulled mirror.
Exactly. And it's a brilliant piece of psychological tech because it both receives and transmits at the same time. You can dim it, sure, maybe you don't want to hear the latest figures on pig iron production, but you can never, ever turn it completely off.
So any sound you make above a low whisper,
It's picked up. And you have to live with this constant assumption, this knowledge that you could be watched at any given moment.
and that's the real weight of it, isn't it? It's not that you are being watched every second, but that you could be. It forces you into this state of constant.
Self-policing, exactly. It leads to this concept they call face crime. You have to consciously manage your expression. A flicker of surprise, a hint of disbelief. That could be enough. You just never know when the thought police might decide to plug in your wire.
And the sources draw a really sharp line between the regular police, the blue bottles they call them, who did not matter, and the real threat.
The thought police. They're the existential threat.
And this whole system of terror is, of course, propped up by the government itself. The four ministries, with their famously cynical names.
It's the ultimate reversal, a signal of the party's complete contempt for reality.
Right. The Ministry of Peace runs the war. The Ministry of Truth pumps out lies.
The Ministry of Plenty oversees starvation, and, of course, the Ministry of Love.
The Ministry of Torture. It's described as this fortress impossible to get into, guarded by machine gun nests and steel doors. It's the place you go to be changed.
So if the telescreen controls the present, the next layer of control is managing the past. And this is where the Ministry of Truth's real work begins.
This is Winston Smith's job, right? This constant grinding process of rewriting reality.
It's systematic falsification. The second a fact becomes inconvenient or a prediction is proven wrong, the original documents go straight into the memory holes.
Describe the memory hole for us. It's not just a shredder.
No, it's a slot in the wall. You drop the paper in, and a current of warm air whisks it away to these massive furnaces. It's total annihilation of the record. Then a new record is created to take its place.
So they don't just erase, which would leave a gap. They substitute. They create a new, authentic-seeming fact.
Absolutely. The sources give so many examples. Big Brother predicts the South Indian front will be quiet, but the Eurasians launch an offensive there. So you go back and rewrite the prediction.
Or the chocolate ration. That's a great one.
Yes. They announce the ration has been raised to 20 grams, a triumph. But you have to erase the fact that just yesterday it was 30 grams. You create the feeling of progress by constantly erasing the immediate past.
They're not just tweaking numbers, they're literally creating existence from nothing. Like Comrade Ogilvy.
A man who never existed. An hour ago, he was nothing. But now, after a bit of writing and a faked photograph, he exists in the past just as authentically as, Julius Caesar.
But to make sure that future generations can't even conceive of this kind of falsification, they need an even more powerful weapon than the memory hole.
And that weapon is language itself, newspeak.
Right. So newspeak, is it just about simplifying things, or is there a much deeper, more sinister purpose?
Oh, much deeper. Newspeak is explicitly designed to narrow the range of thought. The character Syme, who's working on the dictionary, he says it himself, they are cutting the language down to the bone.
And the logic is just brutal. Why have a word like bad when ungood does the job? Why have a dozen words for good when you can just have plus good or double plus good?
It's not about efficiency. It's about making thought crime literally impossible. If there's no word for rebellion, how can you even form the thought? Syme says the revolution will be complete when the language is perfect.
So the goal isn't just to make rebellion unthinkable. It's to make it unsayable. unexpressible.
Which leads to that chilling phrase, orthodoxy is unconsciousness. The perfect citizen doesn't need to think, because the very tools for critical thought have been surgically removed from their language.
And that's why someone like Syme, who's smart enough to understand the process, he's a liability.
He sees the gears turning too clearly. He's doomed. He lacks what they call saving stupidity.
Okay, let's pivot to the internal world, the emotional landscape. They can't just get rid of emotion, so they have to channel it. Which brings us to the 2 minutes hate.
It's an engineered emotional catharsis. It starts with this horrible grinding noise, and then the face of Emmanuel Goldstein, the enemy of the people, appears on screen.
And it's not a passive experience, is it? It's physical.
No, not at all. It's a collective delirium. People are jumping, shouting, throwing things. The sources describe it as a hideous ecstasy of fear and vindictiveness. It's pure manufactured rage.
But the genius of it, the terrifying part, is that the rage is an abstract, undirected emotion.
Exactly. It doesn't matter who you're actually angry at in that moment. That energy gets captured and immediately redirected at the party's chosen enemy. All that emotional power is just harvested.
And to keep harvesting it, you have to destroy any competing loyalties, especially in the family. This is where the children come in.
They're weaponized. Organizations like the spies, in their little uniforms, they're trained to be ungovernable little savages, but with all that ferocity pointed outwards against traitors.
The idea of the child hero, a kid who denounces their own parents. We see that with the character Parsons, who's actually proud that his kids are spying on him.
He's proud. He tells a story about his daughter setting an old woman's skirt on fire because she used a poster of Big Brother to wrap something. He thinks it shows the right spirit. It's chilling.
And if you're going to control family loyalty, you have to control the most basic biological drive, sex.
The party's aim is to strip all pleasure, all eroticism from it. It's only for procreation. The sources say marriages are only approved if the couple seems to have no physical attraction to each other.
And this isn't just about being puritanical. It's political engineering. Julia's character nails it.
She does. She sees that sexual privation creates a kind of hysteria, and that hysteria can be transformed into war fever and leader worship.
She boils it down perfectly. All this marching up and down and cheering and waving flags is simply sex gone sour. They're bottling up that energy and redirecting it.
Now, you have this stark contrast between the party members who are so rigidly controlled and the proles, the masses.
Who are mostly just ignored. The thought police aren't really interested in them.
Right. They're seen as animals, kept poor, uneducated, distracted with cheap gin and lottery tickets. But because they're left alone, they've held on to something.
A kind of primitive, spontaneous emotion.
Yes. There's that scene of a riot over tin saucepans, this huge animal cry of, "Oh!" Winston realizes they've stayed human, they still have private loyalties because the party just hasn't bothered to take them away.
Which brings us to the biggest question of all, the why. Why go to all this trouble? The constant terror, the rewriting of history. What's the ultimate point?
This is where O'Brien's explanation becomes the absolute core of the whole system. The first piece is the state of permanent war. He explains that it's not about winning, it's about using up the products of human labor without raising the standard of living.
So war is just an economic release valve,
Yeah.
a way to destroy surplus so that people stay on the brink of hardship.
Exactly. If the masses became comfortable and educated, they'd become too intelligent to be ruled. So you have to keep them poor and afraid. It's a deliberate policy to maintain the power structure.
And the second piece of the why is showing that reality itself is completely malleable the moment the war enemy changes.
Yes, mid-speech. 1 second they're at war with Eurasia, a messenger runs up, and the next second, Oceania has always been at war with Eastasia.
And the crowd just switches instantly. They tear down the wrong posters, blame Goldstein's agents for the mistake. Their hatred transfers perfectly.
It's the ultimate demonstration that the past is fluid, that truth is whatever the party says it is, and that's what gets Winston sent to the Ministry of Love. O'Brien tells him the goal isn't to punish him, it's to cure you, to make you sane.
Sane, meaning you have to accept their reality.
You have to. O'Brien says it outright. Reality exists in the human mind and nowhere else. Whatever the party holds to be the truth is truth.
It's not enough to say 4 fingers or 5. You have to see 5 fingers. You have to believe it.
And when Winston asks what kind of future they're building with all this power, O'Brien gives maybe the most horrifying answer imaginable. Imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. It's just power for the sake of power.
Total rejection of human nature. O'Brien even says, We create human nature. Men are infinitely malleable.
And the tool that makes all this possible, the final capstone, is doublethink. The ability to hold two contradictory beliefs at the same time and accept both. To know you're changing the past, but also to believe sincerely that the past is unchangeable.
So let's sum this up. What does this all mean? The state's power here rests on controlling three things.
Yeah.
The means of expression through newspeak,
The historical record through the memory hole.
and the internal emotional life through engineered hate and the destruction of private loyalties.
It's a system designed to completely break down the individual until there's nothing left but the party. And the final test of that is Room 101.
Right. Winston and Julia believed they had this one last sanctuary, the one thing they can't do, which was get inside them and make them stop loving each other.
But the system finds your greatest fear, in Winston's case, rats, and it uses that to force the ultimate betrayal. To save yourself, you have to sacrifice the one person you love.
And he does. He screams, "Do it to Julia, not me, Julia."
And in that moment, the system wins. They're both cured, they meet again later, and they feel nothing. They have learned to love Big Brother.
The party's philosophy was that humanity is the party. The others are outside, irrelevant. The most terrifying thing in these sources is the absolute isolation of the individual. So if truth only exists in memory, and the party controls memory, language, and the mind itself, that leaves a final provocative question for you to think about. If the individual is always broken and the past is always being erased, how long can a single isolated thought survive when reality itself is denied?